Hello everyone, welcome back to Cash and Coffee. Today I have an updated version of my bill tracker and currency tracker Excel spreadsheet. It's not that much different compared to the one I just showed you a couple weeks ago, but it's definitely a lot easier and has some cool new tricks to it. Right now I am on the first tab of the Excel sheet if you were to get this from my Etsy shop. This is the bill tracker and currency tracker directions. It's color coded with in-depth directions on how to use this, and I'm definitely a person that likes to see, like I've said before, I'm visual, so that's why I have a lot of arrows on the screen, but they're all color coordinated with their step. So it kind of looks overwhelming, but it's very simple. But instead of going through this right now, I'm going to show you the sheet itself. Today I have a larger cursor, so you should be able to follow me a little bit easier. Right now I'm on the Start Here tab, and you can see it's locked. This is so you cannot click on it and erase anything that's important. This just makes life easier. And I'm going to go to the Bill Tracker and Currency Tracker tab, also protected. So this sheet is not that much different compared to the one that I shared with you a couple weeks ago. Again, there's only certain things you can click on. I already pre-filled up here that I put February because I'm going to go through this with you as if I'm doing my end of the month paycheck. But to show you a couple things here, you can click on certain cells like these. These ones are not clickable. These ones are not clickable. This is all just to protect the formatting that we have in place so that nothing accidentally gets deleted as you are doing your bills for the month. Over here, this is where you would fill in your bills and the amounts that are due. In this box here, this is going to be for your cash envelopes and sinking funds. You'll enter your categories here, and then eventually you'll get to your amounts after you know how much you have left over. Up here, if you want, you can do paycheck 1, paycheck 2, the date, whatever you want to label it, or just leave it as is. Over here, this is where you're going to enter your check information, and then I will show you the rest as we get going. So I'm going to try and make this a little bit faster. So these are my bills for the end of the month. Here, and this is the total of bills that I have to pay. Now you might see I have water and garbage on here 2 times. That's because one of these is for water, one of these is for garbage. This just happens to be a month that we have to pay both of them because it's either or sometimes we don't pay a certain month. It just all depends. So this month, yay, we're lucky that we have to pay both of those. And then also the timeshare tax is not something I usually have to pay. That was supposed to be paid out of the last paycheck, but that was short, so we have to pay it out of this one. So I always have my bills in place, and I'm always going to have these constant. So when I'm doing my bills, I will often copy and paste it. So I wouldn't. Now I don't paste it generally into the next bill category because that would be for the next date's bills. Like, for example, I'm currently working on the end of the month, so I would pretend that this one is for the 15th, which is the other day that I pay bills. So that would stay the same, but if I'm working ahead, I could go down here and paste my bills down here as well. Generally, I do that, especially when I'm working on trying to pay off a certain debt. I will work ahead and try and get all my bills figured out. But anyway, let's just work on this week's paycheck, this week's budget. Now, before I put in the paycheck here, I'm going to go ahead and get my categories ready. And this is the new thing I'm really excited about. Check it out. I'm going to actually right-click and paste this so you can see what I'm doing. And boom! Look at that. It fills in all of these currency trackers. That's what this box is here, for the whole spread. And also it will fill in your cash envelopes and sinking funds for each paycheck, so you don't have to do anything with that. Now you are able to edit or take something out on these, but if you do that, it is going to just do it for that one, because it's all reading off of this first box right here. So you are still able to edit anything over here, but just keep in mind that the rest of them are just going to be based off of this one. So if you need to edit again, you may need to adjust accordingly. But for the most part, this should be super easy, especially if you're super constant on the categories that you have and you're not adding or taking away categories all that often. This is a really fun thing that I am excited to use now. Not that I was copy and pasting a lot of things, and just found a way to make it easier, and I'm just so excited to share this with you guys. So I'm gonna go over here to check and put our amounts in so we can get going on seeing what else this sheet can do. Our check should be at least $31.97. That's our typical check. I know it's gonna be more based on the last paycheck, but I'm just gonna act like this is what we're getting. What I'm trying to say is we're supposed to get our back pay for our last paycheck. But anyway, so once I click off of here, you're going to see this amount down here change. So the total now is $272.83. Now, if I had any extras, a bill that couldn't fit here, as if these were all filled up, or maybe a bill I didn't want to put here, or something that I didn't want to pull out of my cash envelopes and sinking funds, this is where I would put that amount. You don't necessarily have to use it. You do your bills and your sinking funds however you want. There's just sometimes a thing that I don't want to pull money out of, and I don't want to label it as a regular bill, so I'll put it in the extras. That's just something I do. So this is the amount of money we have left over to distribute into these funds. So I'm going to start with gas, and I'm going to do 60 for now, and then after I hit enter, it is going to put the 60 over here so that I don't have to copy and paste. It's just automatically there. And then down here, it's going to do the totals, just to make sure that I'm staying on track with everything, and I'll get to this later. So we're at $60, we have $272. Grocery, let's say we'll do 120. So we're at 180. Gymnastics has to get 40 every paycheck, that's my rule. So we're at 220. And what's the next important thing right now? Would be our car maintenance. So let's put 50 there. So we're at 270. Now, something I want to show you, if for some reason you're just doing your numbers and you're forgetting to pay attention to what the total is here, this is what will happen. If you go over budget, it's going to tell you that you're over budget, because this total here is going to be, it's going to say you're over budget because 280 is more than the 272 we have allowed. So I'm going to take that out, and you can see it says balance. So the balanced amount is going to be anything equal to or less than the total here. So as long as it's 272 or below, it's always going to say balanced. So now I'm going to figure out the denominations that I want to take this out in. So gas, I usually take it out in 20s. I will do 3 20s. groceries, I usually do 100, and then I'll do a 20. Car maintenance, I'll do a 50. And gymnastics, I usually always do in 20, so I'll do 2 20s. So as I'm entering in these denominations, it's adding it up down here, and then it's pulling that number, pulling the numbers here into this denominations chart. So this is basically the same breakdown I would do on paper. I will still write it on paper and I'll hand it to the teller when I go through the drive-through usually, but this just makes it easier for me. So it'll be the hundreds times 1, and that gives you your total. 50s times 1 gives you total. 20s times 6 total, all the way down. So what you want to pay attention to here is that the total here is equal to what's right here, equal to right here, which should already be equal to this total right here. So that's basically it. It's super easy to use, and I'm really excited to share it with you. If you want to check it out, go ahead and see the description down below for the link. This is what the link will take you to. Is the Etsy listing for the tracker, and this is a bundle with is basically this right here. This is just an extra copy I have in the Excel sheet. You do not need to do anything with it. You could print it from here if you wanted to, but it's its own separate PDF file. I just felt like I needed to put it here. You can't click on it you can click on it, but you can't edit the cells. This is just a picture. I do have a sheet that is completely customizable. You can change the color and font and whichever. However, none of this is formatted with any calculation. So this is basically something if you wanted to fill it in digitally and then print it out, you could do that. So I'm very excited to share that, like I said, and if you have any questions about it, please let me know. That is all for today's video. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting down below. Until next time, we'll see ya.